So best friends got each other's back. We used to cruise around with a bass to the max. Everyone in school while I was in the lab, cooking up some beats that would turn into tracks. High school chillin', I was on a mission. I had bigger dreams of being a musician. Teachers always talked but I couldn't seem to listen. I lived in a fantasy land, they called it fiction. But I was gonna be big one day, playing shows on the road to a sold out stage. Nobody really cared or believed I would make it anywhere close, I would fail and fade. But that's cool, I love that, cause any little doubt gives me energy back. And now I'm in a place where I'm glad I never gave up on the dreams I had. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing. Yeah, let's go. So if you want something big, you gotta swing fast, swing hard and commit. You might miss 10 times, but when you hit, just make sure that you get all of it, okay? People at the top took risks. Investing and testing is all that they did. It's not complicated, it just takes grit. So never give up, take a swing at it. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the Pick and Roll Podcast, episode number 57. I'm here with my guys, Coach Ed and Rios from Just Fans Podcast. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? How's everyone else?
Doing good, doing good. Excited to talk basketball. And you know what, Rios, since you're here, I got to talk about this, man. And that's Joel Embiid dropping 70 points on Victor Wembanyama. I had to start off with that, man. How do you feel about that?
It brought joy to the soul.
But seriously, on note here, Joel Embiid now holds the record for the Philadelphia 76ers most points in a game. He beat Wilt Chamberlain, who had 68. So, yeah, history. So here's my question for you guys. Is it too early to have Joel Embiid up there, like with all the greats? Is it too early for the all greats in the Sixers realm, not NBA? Is it too early to put?
I would say so.
Mm-hmm.
He's had great regular season success, but like you got to get it done in the postseason.
Right. Yep. Because there's Sixers fans out there that are like, yo, I'll take him over this person. I'll take him over Barkley. I'll take him over AI and all this stuff. And I'm like, you can't. AI made it to the finals.
He took a game away. He gave the Lakers their only loss that playoff run. They had one loss against Allen Iverson, game one. That was it.
Right.
Who do you consider the all-time greats for the Philadelphia 76ers?
Well, you got to put Wilt in there. You got to put Barkley in there. You got to put AI in there. You got to put Moses Malone in there.
Dr. J.
Dr. J, that was 5. And then not Maurice Cheeks. He's on the outside looking in. But those are normally the top 5.
What about Billy Cunningham?
Billy Cunningham, he will be like top 6. He'll be up there, yeah. People were telling me Doug Collins. I'm like, no. He had a nice jump shot, but no, no.
Now, the only one I would contend with probably is Cunningham. If you want to put Joel Embiid up there, but the other ones, AI, Wilt Chamberlain, Dr. J, Moses Malone, Barkley, maybe might want to, if he were to win a championship, you might put him over Barkley, but right now, yeah, you're right. It's for me, it is too early. I mean, so I can't put him there right now, because
I can't either.
Nah.
I can't. Yeah, he only has one MVP under his belt. He's got one MVP, multiple All-Star games. He doesn't have an All-Star MVP. If you want me to nitpick and go to he doesn't have a Defensive Player of the Year. He doesn't have all this stuff. So there's still more, and then he has to get past Jokic for that to happen.
Good point.
For
Very
me. Because right now, it's just like with the centers of the modern day, it's Jokic, Embiid, everyone else.
Well, see, I was talking about that the other day, where the Jokic and Embiid are true centers because they can also play with their back to the basket. As old school, when you think about old school centers, when you think about the Elijah ones, when you think about Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem, what was one of the things they would always play with their back to the basket. Maybe they could turn around and face up on you, but for the most part, they play with their back to the basket, which these guys are still able to do. Yes, they're able to go out to the 3-point line and they can hit the mid range, so that enhances their game. But I think that they could go into a different era and they could play old school and be productive. So, but yeah, the rest of the centers today, and I understand the game is different. It's a different game, spacing and the motion. You're trying to keep the lane clear. So I get it. It's just those two could definitely play in an old school type of offense as well as in today's game. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you said Bam, right, Coach? Did you say Bam?
no, I didn't say Bam Adebayo. I mean,
Oh, I thought you. Maybe I heard you say Bam on your
no,
other show.
no. The did I? No, I don't. Cause I don't.
Was it Bam or was it? It wasn't Karl Anthony Towns. I know that.
No, it was Jokic
No.
and it was Embiid.
Oh,
And
okay. I thought you
I'm
said you
looking.
had Bam up there.
No, Bam. I don't. Does he play with it? I don't consider him a back to the basket center.
For me, it's like, oh, my bad. I thought you were just ranking centers. You would have Embiid and Jokic, and then you have Bam on the outside
No,
of those two.
no.
Well,
That's why I say when they
back to
could
the
play,
basket. Post up.
yeah,
Yeah.
the post up back to the basket. Old school. Like Elijah Wan. You've seen what could do. With his back to the basket, he could turn around. He could take you. He could take you off the dribble. He was athletic. I mean Kareem. With his sky hook. I mean. So you go far back as Wilt. Wilt was just so damn tall and big. Back then. So guys today's they don't play with their back to the basket, and they don't have moves. They don't have a specialized move, whether it's a jump hook or anything. In that regard. So it like I said, it's different. And more centers now want to be like Dirk was when he first started it, and you look at Kristaps Porzingis. They want to go out to the 3-point line and they want to shoot 3-pointers. So they don't want to go down and play physically in the lane. Because you're going to get pushed around. So
Yeah. I mean, look at Karl Anthony Towns. He had 62 points against the Hornets and 15 of those shots were threes, and he made 10 of them.
And that's my point. And that's a guy who, what, back in the days, what would they do? They would put him down in the box. And the kids today, they're not trained that way to play. So
Yep. Yeah, exactly right. Rio's. Oh, my bad. You're getting a drink. But yes, Daniel, you beat me right to my next topic, and that is Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. How do you guys feel about that? And they let go Anderson Griffith. Rios, I'm going to start with you. Me and
Mm.
Coach talked about it before we started.
Yeah. So I was reading the story earlier today that came out on Bleacher Report. So looks like he had told the guys that during the in-season tournament that they need to play harder, trying to rally them, and that was the breaking point apparently. I'm like, what the? So he's telling you guys to play harder. You guys, make sacrifices to, be winners, and they basically ran him off for Doc Rivers because that's the winning formula. Like it is the most bizarre thing I've seen this season so far.
Yeah.
Look, as I was telling Mitch earlier before we started, last night I had issues with it. I felt it was grimy. It's like you did some underhanded thing to get him out of here, and it made it seem perception wise like you went to Doc and said, hey, if we fire this guy, will you take the job? So, but then again, I was thinking, and I made a comment a few weeks ago, or a little over a month ago, in reference to Mike Tomlin. I said, well, if Mike Tomlin became available, I'd fire Dable in a heartbeat just to get him. So, and that's why I was just like, well, damn, that could be considered grimy. So that's the business. Now, Milwaukee's saying they made a mistake. Whether he's connecting or whatever, I look, if guys if guys are offended because a coach is trying to push you to play harder, even for the end season tournament, and you have an issue with that says a lot to me. So, but hey, Milwaukee, to give them this credit, they saw it was not going to work, and they cut it quickly before it spiraled out of control. So I mean, look, for Griffin's record, for his record, he was what, 30-13. I mean, that's that. There are not a lot of rookie coaches who are going to be winning like that. So now maybe another team, or maybe a younger team, will sign him and help, and they grow together. But it's obvious a veteran team like that, they just didn't want to play for. They didn't respect him. Because he's a young coach, and for whatever reason. So and I mean, I was watching. What was it? Stephen A. and Mike Mad Dog Russo today, and they were going in on that, and they were look, he's young, he didn't have the locker room, they cut it, and they brought in Doc Rivers. Now that's going to be left to debate, but they did make a great point. They said if Doc Rivers doesn't win a championship here, he's probably done in the NBA as a coach.
Oh yeah. And what's funny to me is they're paying 3 coaches right now. They got 3 coaches on the payroll. I'm like, that just speaks volume about the mismanagement from up top. Like, how do you have 3 coaches on payroll and you just hired a 4th one?
Exactly. It's crazy.
Randy, how you doing, bro?
Good, man. Good. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, all loud and clear.
How are you feeling, bro, man?
Yeah, every day's a challenge, and just trying to eventually get back to normal. But it's going to be a bit, but appreciate you asking. So but we're good. But I'm here to talk some basketball, and I myself was also confused a little bit by the Adrian Griffin let go. 30-13 record, pretty darn good if you ask me for a coach. But then when you start to go and look deep down into the metrics of things, and you can even go further, their last 4 games, I can see why the head office or even the head management is getting a little bit worried because of the close games that they're having, or games that we think that they should win in. And their defensive rating this year is like 26 or 27 since they traded for Dame. And a lot of that has to do with them getting rid of Holiday, I think. Getting rid of Holiday exposed them defensively big time. And this for me is a last-ditch effort, like throwing throwing somebody a life preserver in the ocean and saying, "Here you go." Because I hate to say it, but what has Doc Rivers done for us lately? He's had teams where he's had dominant players, aka an MVP, and couldn't get out of the second round. So again, what's going to happen if this team doesn't falter and get far or even get to a conference finals, and then the blame's going to be what, Doc Rivers? No, I think that should start to fall onto the players like Giannis and so on.
There was great comments that were talked that was brought up about Giannis, because if it was LeBron and with all these coaches, everyone would be killing him about you're getting coaches fired. Well, what about Giannis? I mean,
Yeah.
look at it. You just talked about how many coaches has he gone through. I mean, they went through it, and I think he's went through like 6 or 7 coaches. I mean, going back to Jason Kidd and I think it was it Larry Drew?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when are the players going to be held culpable? I mean, Randy, you made a great point about Drew Holiday. Yeah, you had to give him up to get Dame, but look at the defense. I mean, people forget when Adrian Griffin was playing in the NBA, he was a 3-and-D player. He was a defensive specialist. So I don't think the guy has forgotten defensive principles. And it's just, do the players, are they buying in? Do they connect with him? And that's the issue. And, like I said earlier, are these players going to be held? Giannis, when are we going to hold Giannis culpable like a LeBron, like a KD? For whatever reason, you're getting a lot of coaches fired out there. Why?
Yeah, Mike Budenholzer, Joe Prunty, Jason Kidd, Larry Drew are the last coaches, and even Mike Budenholzer got fired, and he still was a winning coach. Like he just came off winning them a chip, and it's like, like you said, Coach, when are we going to start holding Giannis on that pier of acceptance and of culpability?
Yeah,
this makes what, 4 coaches in 6 years now?
Yeah,
since they won the championship, they won 4 coaches since they won the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just to bring back to the coaching side of it, it was not the first time that the coach got fired right away. Remember when David Black got fired for Tyronn Lue?
Yes, exactly.
Right out of the gate. And did they win their championship that year?
I think they did win when Ty Lue got there. Was it the first year or the second year? I can't remember. It was literally right after Blatt was let go. So, whether it's the first or second year, but the point is, when you made the change, you won the championship. So
yeah.
And by the way, Coach sent you the link, so just pop on in whenever you can. But yeah, it's just like, it's a business. People make stupid business decisions. I like Budenholzer for that team. I really did. And how does he not have a job yet? Him and Mark Jackson. I was telling this to Coach earlier. If I were the Bucks, I would have gone for Mark Jackson right out the gate. Been like, you? No, Doc, no, you stick with Dorsberg. Give me Mark Jackson.
Well, I think the thing is, Mark Jackson's kind of the same type of coach. He's going to try to hold the players accountable. And Doc Rivers is going to be, friends with the players. To me, it doesn't think like he holds the players accountable, like a guy that's like a defensive specialist, like Mark Jackson was, and their last coach was.
Rios, that's a great comment, because for me, as a former player, I love when a coach challenges me, when he pushes me. When if I come to the sideline and you're like, Gladney, what the F is that? I take that as, what? When you criticize me, first and foremost, you believe in my talent. You believe in me. You're trying to push me. Certain players today take criticism as in a negative context, as opposed to, what? Your coach is trying to push you to bring something out of you, because great coaches, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to push you. They're not supposed to, be friends with you. And yes, you want to try and have a certain level of connection. I agree to that. But I want my coach to push me. I want you to kick me in my hind parts. You know, when I'm screwing up. I mean, that's gonna motivate me to go out there and do better. And that also shows me the coach believes in me. You know, all this nicey all the time. I just,
I can't do
I
it.
guess it's just the way I was brought up as a player and as a coach.
Yeah.
I'm used to getting chewed out. You know, I mean, that's just me. That's me.
Yep.
I am in the same way too, coach. If my coach is gonna single me out in front of everybody, that one shows that not only does he believe in me, but he also sees me as a leader. And two, I got to take it as a man versus getting coddled like a little boy, because eventually, there isn't so much. I'm not going to call it a friendship, but nowadays it almost seems like guys want to be treated like as if they're buddies, and it's like this is a business. The coach is supposed to coach you in a way to better this team to in the end win a championship. And if
Yeah.
you got guys like Giannis doing this, where he's like, "Oh, I want to have somebody who's more of a coach's player." Well, maybe that's not it. Maybe you need to be pushed to the limit, because that'll bring something out of you that you haven't seen before.
And really quick, sorry to cut you off, Randy. Where'd you send the link to E, Coach? Was it on Twitter or something?
Yeah, it's in Twitter in our conversation. You just have to scroll up because I know we've had other conversations in that chat. But if you scroll up in the chat, it's there. Because that's how I got on here. I just clicked on it just to make sure it was open. So it's in our chat, in our private chat.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Can't wait to hear E and his opinions on everything. But
You know what?
when you look,
I'm gonna do this. Because I'm on my phone. I'm gonna drop off and I'm gonna resend it to him so that way he has it. And then
okay,
I'll be right back.
all right, all good,
Sure.
all good, Coach. Yep. So for me, right, I agree with Randy. You want a coach to push you, you want a coach to challenge you and everything. But it comes to a time, where people are too soft nowadays. People are
Yeah.
too soft. They're just like, I don't want this. I want you to be my friend. That's basically it. The times are changing. They don't respect coaches as well anymore. So
Do you think Phil Jackson, was nice to Shaq and coddled Kobe? It was like, no, he was, times were tough, but go
You
ahead.
saw
go
the
ahead.
Last Dance, like you saw the Last Dance. You saw how he was with the players, and
Yeah.
not just the coach holding the players accountable. The players themselves, like as team leader, guys should be holding his players a lot more accountable in the defensive end. Like you guys are, title favorites, but you're struggling, and and these close games against guys you should blow out because all the lapses in defense. That falls on you as a leader to, hey, guys, we need to get this shit together. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So it worked, Coach. So you're
Well,
back in.
I just resent it, so I'm back in here. E, just check the chat again. I just resent it, bro.
And I just want to say thank you to Wesley. Really appreciate it, man. 1 million views. I still can't believe it to this day. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, thank you guys for everything. It really is. Like, it's
That's
just
it.
incredible. But Jason Kidd is a weird coach, and I agree with Arku on this one. I usually don't agree with Arku on anything, but I agree with him a little bit on this one. I don't know. He just didn't fit. How do you guys feel about Jason Kidd as a coach?
I think he's a better assistant coach or like a coordinator versus a head coach. Head coach comes with a lot of different responsibilities. I don't think not everyone's meant to be a great head coach. He's one of those guys. He's better off as an assistant coach or coordinator, something like that.
Yeah. Randy, how do you feel about Jason Kidd as a coach?
I don't know, man. Like I don't see enough Mavs games to really give like an honest opinion based on like what he does. But it's, I guess when it comes down to it, when it's wins and losses, I mean, like look at Steve Nash. Maybe not all NBA players are cut out to be head coaches, but like Rio said, maybe they're good just being assistant.
Yeah. And Coach, how do you feel about Jason Kidd? And then we'll go into the trade that happened a couple days ago.
I mean, when you look at it and you look at his record, I mean, he has been winning. I mean, now he hasn't won a championship, but he has been winning. So when you say he's a weird coach, I'm like, okay, when you mean weird, I mean, in what regard? Because You know, he is winning. I mean, you know, look. I mean, look at Luka's development under Jason Kidd. I mean, he has to help develop him into one of the elite players in the league. And you know, Giannis for everything that we I'm criticizing him on for. You know, Jason Kidd did start his development, and look at where he is as an elite player. So you know, that's why when you say weird, I mean, I guess I'm trying to understand what you mean by weird. You know, how is he weird in what regard?
Yeah, it's a weird word. Weird is a weird word. Uh, NBA is different now than back in the day. Referees can call different now too. Defense better back in the day. The league was better back then. I agree.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
agree. I basically watched 2000s basketball. I was born in '94, so I started like around '99, 2000. So that's basically like I miss those big men down in the paint. I
Mhm.
miss like Kevin Garnett. I miss like a Shaquille O'Neal. I miss those guys. I
Yeah,
really do.
Exactly with E again. Hold
yeah.
on. Back.
I was born in '84, so I grew up in the '80s and '90s basketball, and then early 2000s too. So I've seen the evolution from the '80s to the '90s to the 2000s to what we have today, and it's been a drastic change.
Yeah.
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 So Randy,
God,
you agree with this that basketball was better back in the day?
Yeah, I was born in '86, so like Rios, like watching basketball in the '90s was so different from what it was in the 2000s to now what it is in 2024. It's kind of crazy to kind of see basketball revolutionized into a sense that like they were trying to push away the center, they're trying to get away from it, and now it's more prevalent than ever if you can shoot the three, and
right.
and right, yeah, and rebound really good too. So it's like it's weird, but like Rio said, it's fun to see where basketball was when we came in and where it now has ended up.
I
Yep.
think now you have better athletes, but the skill level is kind of dropped off a little bit. Like just the basic fundamentals, and like some of the like coaches nowadays saying they're having to like reteach basic fundamentals that you would expect them to as professional athletes already have at this point in their careers. But no.
So E, what's good, bro? Coach will be right back. Oh, there he is.
Oh,
Alright.
all right. I was just checking for E. That's all. I'm sorry.
Peace. What's going on, everybody, man? Thanks for letting me chime in today, fellas. Everybody, I
Sir.
hope everybody's having a good day. Coach, thank you for being persistent and bringing your brother on, man. So I just want to touch on the topic of coaches, right? I heard what you guys were talking about, and I think somebody made a very profound statement. I don't know who said it, but they said the type of coaches, right? So when I think about that, I want you guys to just come down memory lane with me for a second. What kind of coaches created dynasties and what kind of coaches created legacies? They're two different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's
Yep.
fair. That's fair. I mean, because if you talk about legacies, then you know, of course, we're talking about the Rileys, the Red Auerbachs, you know, guys of that ilk. You know, I mean, you're right. You know, because they did create a lot of legacy players. You know, Riley, of course, with the Lakers. I mean, you know, of course, what he did for Ewing, you know, as a Knicks fan, and then what he did down in Miami with Mourning and Dwayne Wade and those guys. So he has a lot of legacy players under his wings, and we could Red Auerbach. You know, you can hate the Celtics for all you want, but those Celtics teams back in the 50s and 60s, man, the talent that was there. You know, the Jones brothers. I mean, you know, Bill Russell. I mean, it's crazy. So I mean, that's an excellent point when you talk about the coaching.
Yep.
Okay. And now let's talk about dynasties. Think about it, gentlemen. Will Steve Kerr go down as a legacy coach like Phil Jackson, like Red Auerbach, like Pat Riley, and some of those other guys? Or will he just be a coach that actually has a high win percentage due to having a team that he didn't even draft that was inherited? Let's never forget that. He
Right.
won the championships as a coach, but
Yeah.
that personnel was picked by Mark Jackson.
Well,
Yes.
based on what you're saying there, E, would
I'm
you
going
put
ladder.
would you put him on like we were just talking about Auerbach and those other coaches, or would you put him? Because I know I'm probably gonna get killed for this, but I don't consider Chuck Daly a dynasty coach. Legacy, yes. Dynasty, no. I mean, and you can argue about the bad boys, but I mean, I think he's like close. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, yes, but I don't think he's a dynasty coach in my opinion. That's where I would put Kerr. He's on that ilk, in that regard.
What about Greg
Yeah,
Pop?
Pop,
Ooh, that's a good
he's
one.
dynasty. For me, he's
I
dynasty.
think he's done.
Dynasty.
I think he's
Yeah.
dynasty.
And for me, he's a hybrid. He's a little bit of both.
That's a good part.
Well,
That's a
yeah,
good word for it.
he,
Yes.
he is a legacy because I mean, come on, the Tim
Mhm.
Duncan, David Robinson, I mean, Tony Parker,
Manu Ginobili.
Manu
Ginobili.
Ginobili. Do you consider Sean Elliott part of that group or
Yeah, he even had Finney Smith on as part of the squad later on too. So
Yeah.
like they even brought in older dudes. So
Mhm.
So,
And then here's another name.
Rod.
Eric Spoelstra.
yeah, you know what?
Eric-
Wait a minute. Dynasty or
I
legacy?
think he's a dynasty. I would not put him as a legacy.
Well, legacy
Mm.
because he
I would
can
call
take-
him. I
Go
say
ahead, go
borderline because I'd say borderline because he inherited the super team, the Heatles.
Right.
I mean, that was 3 top 10 players in their prime. You don't really see that often team up in free agency.
Wasn't
And
he
they
a
won two-
coach there before he got the team? Wasn't he a coach there for like 2 years or something before that?
No, he
Well, he
was
wasn't.
he was always with the Heat because he started in the
Yeah.
video room.
Yeah, he wasn't the coach. I think he became the coach like right when they got together, or I can't remember at what point. But he wasn't the coach like when they won in 06. He was part of the organization, but he wasn't on the part of the coaching staff. But then after that team after LeBron left, they've been competitive, but they haven't won another championship. They went to the finals, but they just not good enough to win against the Lakers and I think they lost.
Yeah. Legacy, I'm going to put him in legacy because of
Mhm.
what he's doing with some of those players. I mean, Jimmy Buckets. I mean, come on. I mean,
Right. See, when I
legacy,
think of a legacy coach, right, coach, and
Go
of
ahead.
course, I don't mean to cut your wisdom.
Mhm.
When I think of a legacy coach, I think of a guy who has the leadership, the experience, but most of all, the moxie for player development. That a guy that landed to him was not as good as he's going to be leaving him and getting a second or third contract in the NBA. There are guys that once they get under one coach, they become better players when they get with another coach. But there are guys that get with one coach and he's greater for the rest of his career because of that coach. Eric
Pat
Spoelstra
Riley?
is not that to me.
yeah, no, yeah, you're right there.
Based on that
That's a gr-
definition, of course. I mean, I agree
Man.
with.
That's a great point, man.
So then he's neither
I
legacy
try,
or
brother.
dynasty. He can't be dynasty. I can't see him as dynasty though. I just
And
I would
that's
put him
why
in the
I'll never
same-
see Steve Kerr as dynasty. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, legacy. That's why right there.
Would you say Rick Alderman, even though he never won a ring?
That's a good question.
I mean, you could also say Larry Brown too. You could also
Yeah,
say
those are-
Larry Brown.
Larry
Those were
Brown.
great coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, Larry
Phil
Brown was
Jackson is
good.
All
like
right, go to Adelman. I mean, when he had, wasn't Drexler under him too?
yes,
Yes.
I believe so. Yes.
Drexler was under him. Terry Porter. Buck Williams was on. Well, Buck Williams was just, he was good wherever he went. So he.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
And then Adelman went to the Kings, and didn't he have Chris Webber in that group with him when he was there
Chris
too?
Webber.
Yeah, he
Divac.
Jason Williams for the couple of years he was
Yeah.
there.
Lottie
Then he inherited
Divac.
Mike Bibby.
I love Mike Bibby. Oh my
Yeah,
god, that was like one of my favorite players growing up.
Lenny
You know
Wilkins.
That's
I definitely throw Lenny Wilkins in there as legacy.
35
I'll
seasons.
definitely
Yeah.
in there as legacy.
What about what's his name who was with Seattle when Sean Kemp was up there?
Up there.
And,
Oh, George Carl.
yeah,
George
George
Karl.
Carl is another one.
Yeah.
I like George Carl. Yes, for the Denver too. When he was with Denver and
Mhm.
Carmelo.
Wow. Wow.
Going down memory
Right?
lane.
Yeah, we started looking back. You're like,
That's,
damn.
That was
that's what I
before my
asked you guys to
time.
do. I said, take
That
a
was
trip with me
before-
down memory lane.
Yeah.
that was before my
No.
time. You know what? I got an idea for next episode.
QB Brown.
If you're around for next week, we should rank like all these coaches, like put them in legacies and dynasties. Like legacy on one side, dynasty on the other, or hybrid in the middle.
I got
we
a
can-
question for you guys, and I'm happy during him asking that. How do you guys feel about Doc Rivers?
Ooh, Mitch, go ahead. You take the lead, Mitch.
There it
He
is.
left.
The short
He
and
left.
easy said.
I've never seen him move that fast.
Thank God I got a headset. I can talk. But yeah, playoff choker. I know he got one ring, but anyone can get a ring with that team. You have Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and a young Rajon Rondo. What else has he done? He's like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA.
Yikes.
Hey,
That's fire.
I mean, to be fair, yeah. I mean, he hasn't. I mean, what you call was talking about that. Now I'm going to say this. He said with the Clippers, yes, you can hold him accountable, Stephen A. But he actually said with Philadelphia, he's not. He's not putting that much on him because some of it is also on the players. The players have not produced as well.
for
So
having Harden, I can see that. For having Harden,
and that
Ben
was the
Simmons.
one
Yeah.
player that he brought up specifically. He said Harden. He said because Harden is balling with the Clippers now, and he said he literally quit on the Sixers. So it's like how can you penalize him for the
I mean, you
Sixers?
could,
7 points in a game 7.
and then you could talk about Ben Simmons, right? How he's afraid to
Mhm.
shoot. Doc Rivers kept on backing him up. He didn't like criticize him at all. He was just like babying him. He was not telling him to go work on free throws or work on your shot or whatever. He was not.
Well,
So
I'm
it's
going to
just
say
like-
that. I'm going to say this, Mitch, because you said work on your free throws. Why should your coach come to you to say work?
That's just
That's a
When I was a kid, that the one thing my coach said, he always said that's free money. He said work on your
yeah.
as a kid, yes, he said, but once you start getting proficient, that's free money. Nobody should tell you to go after free money.
No.
So
you're talking to the
Exactly.
right person on that one.
no,
But,
because my coaches are like, if you're shooting below 80% of your free throw, I'm like, what the hell are you doing out there? You don't need to be playing. You're below 80%. Like, we're middle school, high school kids. Like, but still, you shouldn't be under 80% because there's no one in front of you. There's no one in your way. It's just you in the basket.
Exactly. And
But I
that's
will say, I do want to say though, really quick, sorry to cut you off, Coach. But
yeah, go ahead.
Mitch, when it comes to Doc Rivers, like obviously the negative sides of stuff, but like you do have to obviously commend him. Like you guys do win when you were under him. Like you guys did obviously get to the playoffs for a reason because you guys were competitive enough. He doesn't have to worry about player development. He's just got to go over there and win this team a championship. Do you think that his coaching ability is enough for them to get past the second and maybe to the conference final, and then who knows at that point?
What did Nikki say? Hold on. Ben Simmons is biggest on. Okay, I'm not saying that, but for me, it's just like this. What is the word? He never held him accountable. As like, I'm just talking about Ben Simmons here in that whole situation. He did not hold him accountable. Like, oh, he needs to work on this. He needs to work on that. He was busy like being his friend, being a friendly coach. We were talking about that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, to me, I didn't want that for my team. I like what Nick Nurse is doing right now. He's unlocked Joel Embiid. He unlocked Tobias Harris. He unlocked all these guys. and
Whoa,
we
You're-
actually feel like a team.
Whoa,
Can I
whoa,
finish?
We're not letting
No,
that
no,
slide
no.
under the carpet.
No, you ain't letting that slide.
No,
Mitch.
no.
What did you
You
just say?
complimented
Yes.
Tobias Harris. Oh my God, it's the world
I've done
ending.
that so many times. I've done that so many times, but let me finish. It's just like with this team we have now with Nick Nurse, you can just tell this is a team, no drama. Nick Nurse is telling them where to go, how to practice, go to certain spots. Nick Nurse, I said this before on As a Philly Sports post game. Nick Nurse should be in the conversation for Coach of the Year. He should be on this. That's what Doc Rivers has done. When you see the Sixers up by like 30 with Doc Rivers, they'll find ways to lose. When you're up by 30 with Nick Nurse, they're still working at it. They're still going. They're not pedaling back. They're keep going. So with Nick Nurse, I love this for the Sixers team, and that's why I feel like Doc Rivers
No.
with legacy and dynasty. If I had to pick,
Too early.
if I had to pick, probably dynasty, just because of that team he had with Boston. And then with the Clippers, right? You have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, but then that didn't work. They wanted you out of there. So, Tobias Harris, sick.
I'm gonna say this though.
That's the best line. That's the best line. I love that.
And he's back.
You
I've been
said
back. I never left.
we spoke about it earlier about Adrian Griffin.
Yeah.
Why did they want him out of there? Because he's pushing them to compete in the in-season tournament. So he's trying to push them, but now Doc Rivers is more of trying to be your friend. So
Yep.
does that say maybe that's the proper fit then? Because if these guys don't want to be pushed like that, they just want their talents to just go out there and play, and you just, in a sense, call your X's and O's at certain times and let the players play. Maybe it might be a better fit. I mean, we have to wait and see, but based on what
that's
you're
what I was trying
talking
to get at
about,
with the question. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, the way you just said that, Mitch, maybe then Milwaukee is the right fit. But
Yeah.
And then I just want to bring this up while we're on Milwaukee right now. But first, Rios, we have a question for you from Dane. Hey, Rios, are the Blazers going to beat your Rockets tonight?
I don't think so. We'll see.
But yeah, speaking of Dame Lillard, perfect segue for that. When I was streaming, I forget what game it was. It was when Giannis was out and Dame was there. I forget who they were against, but it was just like Dame, from what I've seen, and like without Giannis there, he's not a good leader. You've seen that in Portland. You've seen that in Milwaukee. Am I wrong for saying that? That he's not a good leader? Like he needs, excuse me, that he needs somebody to lean on?
I think you're right. I think he's in the same boat as James Harden. Like, not really a leader. He's better off as
Thank you,
like the Robin, basically.
Yeah. Yes,
He
he
needs a
is the
ba- he is-
Robin.
He's a bad man to lead the team. He's not the guy to be the leader like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Paul George is the same way.
Yeah.
Can I bring a name up that he reminds
Go
me
for it.
of? And I gave him a nickname as well. You guys might not agree, but it's the Carmelo Anthony effect, aka
Yeah.
the black hole. I call him the black hole. I always called Carmelo Anthony, for as much as I loved him, I called him the black hole. And the reason is, you are going to be the center, the nucleus, and everything that pulls through a dimension opposite, but you're never going to add to the stars.
No.
Ooh, damn.
It's just like
There is no superstar that was ever elevated because Carmelo Anthony was on the team with him. If you didn't come with your own skill set, like Allen Iverson, like Jimmy and them guys, J.R. Smith and them guys,
Yeah.
Chandler, remember, he played with the guys that were traded to the Knicks before he got there, that was traded from the Knicks before he got there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to elevate anybody. Raymond Felton was playing some of the best basketball of his career when Carmelo Anthony before he got there. You feel me? Tyson Chandler was playing some of the best basketball of his career when he was around the NBA already. So if you didn't come with a certain skill set, he didn't elevate you at all. Damian Lillard does not make anybody better.
Like I said before, when I feel like it was the right time to actually pull to trade Dame. I know Scoot is not doing what everyone claims for him to be right now, but they have Brogdon, they have other pieces to be successful. So it's not working with Dame. They want to try another route. Makes sense. So would you call Dame over? I would not call him overrated for that. No, I would not.
No, not at all. He's proved himself time and time again to be one of the best clutch players in this generation, and no question about it, hands down, one of the most prolific scorers. And you would definitely want to start a franchise being one of those coaches in the new age. But you have to understand the guys and the skill sets that you have to put around them so they can actually win. Or unless you just want a guy who looks good during the regular season but will lose in the second round because he put up a major performance in the first round. That takes a toll on superstars. That's why you need 2 or 3 of them these days.
Yeah. And then Dame, obviously he disagrees. He is a Portland Trailblazers fan, so that makes sense. He actually passes the ball and draws so much attention to himself so to make others better. After watching him for so long, that's blasphemous take.
I love the fact that response was that response, because I want that person to let me know what has Damian Lillard accomplished on a higher level in this league, and tell me the players that have accomplished that higher level, unless you're a super team, as some people, get mad at, right? So the question is, if Damian Lillard is that great, Giannis Antetokounmpo should just become greater. Am I right?
Yeah,
That's a great point.
That's logical, and that's what you're saying is true, because if what he's saying, he or she, I'm sorry, don't know who it is. If what he is saying is true in terms of elevation, because I look at it like this: did he make CJ McCollum? Did he elevate CJ McCollum's game, or did CJ McCollum elevate his own game? CJ, to me, elevated his own game.
Exactly. He could create his own shot. He could spot up. He can shoot off the dribble. He can finish in the lane. He created his own shot.
And who else on that Portland team when he was there? Matter of fact, he was playing with Carmelo. Did he? And Carmelo was at the back end, but did he help elevate Carmelo's game? There was a point in time Carmelo just said, "No, just give me the ball," and he was playing his game the way he played it. Dame didn't do anything to enhance his game. I mean, who else on that Portland team did he help elevate their game?
And LaMarcus Aldridge was himself before he got there.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. So yes, Dame may it penetrate and kick out to the open man. That's not elevating somebody's game. I mean, because that's standard throughout the whole league. Certain guards are going to penetrate. And if you're open, kick you the ball, you better hit that shot. Now. Yep.
That's your job as a point guard. That's your job as the point guard.
Yeah. So that's not elevating his game. That's to me, when you say elevate his game, you're helping him go from, if he's a good player, you're helping him take his game to, a great player. If he's a great player, you're helping him take his game to an elite level. I've never seen Dame Lillard take anybody's game like that.
Facts. And Coach, I have such a great one-sentence conversation for you right now. You know me, I like to listen. I'll listen and then speak. Mm-hmm. When you look at guys like Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Pearl Washington, you learn the players around them because they elevated them. Magic Johnson made all-stars out of guys that you wouldn't have even known their names.
James Worthy's game was elevated because of that. And James Worthy's game
AC Green, Byron
AC
Ruff.
Green.
Like
Yeah.
we're talking, come on, man.
Yeah.
We're talking guys that you wouldn't have known that played with Isaiah, but because of the fact that they was there, because of who Isaiah was. We talking Vinny Johnson, Joe Dumars. And what I mean by elevate game, and see, I hope people get a little deeper into this sports thing like I do. When I'm talking about elevate game, I'm talking about you got to go against me every day in practice. So when you face anybody else on the court, they don't mean nothing to you. Michael
Yes,
Jordan.
Yeah,
Jordan.
but really, yep. What is up, Chad? What is up with everyone in the chat? Really appreciate everyone being here. I want to address this comment from Dame real quick. Coach Griffin is using Dame and Giannis terribly, which is okay. If Doc actually runs the pick and roll, it's all over. Here's my thing. Doc Rivers, he would use the pick and roll for Maxey and Embiid, and then he will go away from it. He will keep on going away from it. Let's say he does this with Giannis and Dame. Let's say he does it. He'll go away from it. He'll try to do something else. He'll have Brook Lopez taking the ball up and do other stuff. Ever since Doc Rivers left the Sixers, in these last couple of games, Joel Embiid only shot 2 3-pointers a game. Where's Embiid going now with Nick Nurse at the helm? Free throw line, elbow, post, low post. With Doc, I don't think this is going to work from experience. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm not wrong.
I'm gonna say this, Mitch. I'm gonna say this because when Milwaukee was being successful, and you had Drew Holiday, the pick and roll was a foundational point because they have the 3-point shooters on the outside. So and everyone knew where to go. They knew their spots where they would go based off of the pick and roll. So, hello. So, like you said, if Doc Rivers, yes, dear, if Doc Rivers uses the pick and roll, then that will help elevate Milwaukee's game, and that will take it to where they need to be. As one of matter of fact, on par with the Celtics in the East. Yeah, and that would help immensely with their game, with Milwaukee's game because they need the pick and roll because it definitely would help everyone. I mean, because you Brook Lopez, you're going to put him on the outside, and what's he going to do? Hit those 3-pointers. So and even what's his name? Oh man, what's damn? What am I forgetting his name?
Middleton?
Yeah, Middleton.
You mean middle?
Yeah. I mean, you have guys like that they know where to go, and now Dame does have to be familiar with where they're going to be so he can get them the ball. But if he does, then that the sky's the limit with this team.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Go for it, man.
So, what offense, when it comes to basket to this Doc Rivers, do you feel he runs? What kind of offense do you feel he runs?
ISO.
Okay,
Because
he's
had
ISO
Tobias.
ball.
I feel like he's more ISO because with he had Tobias in ISO, and that's not Tobias Harris's game. What his game is just you get to his spots, back him down, and go to the paint, hook shot, mini hook. Tobias needs to go to his spots in order for him to be successful.
That's so strange that you said he's ISO because I know Doc as a player, and I watched him with the Atlanta Hawks with Dominique Wilkins back in the day, and he wasn't an ISO player.
He was pick and roll all the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was pick and roll when he played with the Knicks. He was pick and roll. That's why he fit into that system with Ewing when he got older as a player, because that skill set still was with the Knicks, was running because they were a half-court offense.
Mm-hmm. When he coached the Clippers, their pick and rolls are bread and butter with CP3 and Blake Griffin and
DeAndre Jordan.
I forgot to say DeAndre Jordan. There you go.
Right. So is it safe to say that Doc Rivers will now switch back to his actual natural coaching style of pick and roll when he starts now? or
I
no?
think so.
Maybe if he doesn't go away from it. If he
Okay.
doesn't go away and sticks to it, then yes, I
Right.
can agree with you on that part. It's
And he
just like
goes away from pick and roll when he's panicking, when he
Yes.
finds himself to be down, because now he has to try to switch his game to the modern day game of ISO ball, and your players are not skilled enough to do that, especially when you have a Ben Simmons who's self-check. It's 5-on-4 when he's on the court. When you have a
Hey.
guy who doesn't want to play for you and James Harden, it's 5-on-3 when you're on the court, because he'll take himself and somebody else with him.
Yep.
Now he has to play pick and roll because you have the most dominant, athletic stretch 4-5 in the NBA. You have
Yeah.
one of the most clutch
I mean-
shooting point guards in the NBA. So how do you bring both of their skill sets to the forefront to elevate this team?
A
I
pick
mean,
and
with
roll,
the
baby.
Sixers, with the Sixers, he had the most,
Mhm.
arguably, the most dominant, unguardable center. With Joel
Right.
Embiid, who's a mixture of Shaq and Akeem Olajuwon. He kept on
Mhm.
going away from the pick and roll. And then he had Maxey off the bench. He kept on having him off the bench and having Harden out there. He was
Right.
refusing to play the young guys like Springer. He was refusing to play like Thibault. That's why Thibault got traded to Portland, and now he's averaging like 2 or 3, 4 threes a game. It's just like he refuses to play certain players that should be playing.
So he's star
That's
chasing.
what happened with the Sixers.
So what you're saying is Doc Rivers is basically star chasing.
Yes. From my experience with them, yes. He will play PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker at the 4 or the 5. Can you imagine if the Bucks get PJ Tucker because he wants out? So if PJ Tucker goes to the Bucks, oh my god, that'll be hilarious.
But does
Please
that
do that. Milwaukee, please do that.
wait a minute. Would PJ Tucker, because one thing you could say about him is he's probably better on the defensive end. So would he help
a
them
dog.
on the defensive side?
He
Defensive
is but
corner
right.
corner threes. He's when he's on it, he's on it with those corner threes.
Yeah,
When he's
I
on,
mean,
when he's on the
Rios-
Rockets, he was
He was-
deadly from those corner threes. But
He was corner threes. Yep.
Same with the
But
that's why-
Raptors.
now with-
Same with the Raptors. It was corner 3 and down
I
low
forgot
D.
he was on the Raptors. I forgot.
So,
Damn.
yeah.
But
He's
yeah,
pretty much
I
doing
just got it.
everybody.
Yeah. Now with PJ Tucker, he is upset that he's not getting much playing time. Well, if
Isn't he like
goes to the-
72?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
he's like 39 or something.
Yeah, like it's time to relax.
Yeah.
you have the best seat in the house. Just sit there, work on your shoe game, and collect the paycheck.
Right. Bucks need defensive players. They do.
But that
They do need
they
defensive
don't-
players.
Look at their team. Their team still has a foundation of defensive players. I mean, Giannis, you can't sit here and tell me he's not one of the elite defenders. I mean, even Brook Lopez, when he's down low, he's so big that he
Yeah.
intimidates you. Middleton is still a good wing defender. He might not be what he used to be, but he's still there. I mean, even Bobby Portis. I mean, he wasn't great defensively on the Knicks, but I've watched him, and he's bought into defense.
He gets
that-
after it.
So he
He
goes
gets
out
after it. Correct.
there. So
Who's the point guard again?
Now the issue is Dame. I will
I'm sorry, the
say
shooting
that.
guard.
The shooting guard isn't that Middleton?
No,
No,
he's a
No,
three.
he's 3.
Isn't it Carter?
Isn't it Pat
Here, I'll
Connaughton?
look. Oh, I think Randy's right. Let me look. I think Randy's right with Connaughton.
I think
And
it's
they
Pat
want
Connaughton.
they want to trade him too.
Yeah, Pat Connaughton and De'Aaron
Nope.
Payne. No,
It's
They have
it's Malik Beasley.
Okay. They have the pieces, but it's like what Coach Griffin was, trying to instill in them effort. They weren't putting forth the effort. The pieces are there. They just weren't putting forth the effort, and they don't like someone telling them to work harder, so they got rid of them. That guy's gonna be their buddy. We'll see how that works
Yeah.
out.
So I mean, well, what's Doc Rivers' defensive philosophy then?
I don't know. That's the whole point.
I mean,
Um,
is he more? Is he more? Does he try to switch more, or do you stay with your man? Does he
he
mix it
does
up?
not
Does
adjust. He did not adjust at all when he was with us. When he
so?
was
I
just
mean,
like,
So what did he
that's
play?
been
What did he
that's a
play to start? Did he play man on man and you stay with your man, or did you guys switch when he went?
he. It would be different each game, but once he found something, he would not change, like at all. He would
I'm
not
pretty sure you
adjust on the
guys
floor.
played a lot of man, but then
It
like
was
sometimes you
mostly
guys would
man.
do
I'll agree with
zone,
you on that.
but then you
Oh,
It was
guys would
mostly
sometimes
man.
do zone.
so
He
Uh,
struggles. He struggles against teams that can shoot from the outside because he has this philosophy that I've watched even when he was with Philly. Of he starts to actually play defense after half court, and once a team is down, how many times did you see you? How many games did you guys lose in the last 30 seconds over the last couple of seasons with Doc?
a lot.
Exactly. So therefore, he's not pressing on the ball when it's first taken out of bounds. He's not full court pressing. So that means he's not man to man. Because once you full court press, you man to man.
Mhm.
So guess what? Now they're able to advance the ball, call a timeout, get into a half court offense. Guess what? Set up. We all know who's going to get the ball depending on where you at. He lost these type of games all the time to Golden State when he was with the Clippers. Sacramento, when they started to become a good team. The
The
Rockets.
Rocket
You feel me?
came
Right.
back
Denver. Right.
came back 3-1 because they fell
Exactly.
apart in the
And
defensive end
guess
of the ball.
what? Shooters playing what? Motion offenses against them.
mm,
Killed them.
mm.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be what you're going to really see the most out, because if everyone's complaining about Milwaukee's defensive ratings in the lower third, that's to me is going to be the
Mhm.
more than anything, because you got to get those stops. You have to get those stops. You know, it's you don't want to always get in a shootout going back and forth, especially come playoff time, because the other
Yeah.
team is going to play that defense, and you know if they can shut you down and they can go down and score on you, then you know it doesn't make sense when you look at that team. I'm for me when I look at Milwaukee, the first thing I think of is damn, they're pretty. They were elite when they had Drew Holiday
Over.
there, but now I'm like, okay, well they still have some good pieces to play defense. I understand Dame is not a good defender, but if he just funnels guys into the lane, who's he funneling them to? You know,
The big
Giannis
boy.
and Brooke
Yeah.
Lopez. I
Mm.
mean, that's what you would want, you know, defensively, you know, force them into traps, you know, and depending on who it is, you know, dependent. Never mind, I don't want to go there with where I was going, but yeah, you
No.
want to funnel him down the lane, funnel the ball carrier down the lane into a Brooke Lopez, into a Giannis, you know, and hell, even if they kick it out, if it's on Giannis' side, he could still close out and force a tougher shot. So,
I love how you use the penetrational guard down the lane and call
mhm.
them a ball carrier. I love the fact that you said that.
Look, you know why I'm doing that.
I know. That's why I'm laughing in the back.
Yeah, because I get tired of it, man. That's just like, damn, man.
I know.
Y'all know how I am. Y'all ain't gotta always be pausing me. Yo, shut
Right.
up. Leave me
No, but I
alone.
was I was actually no, but I was actually laughing at the football reference in a
Oh yeah,
basketball
yeah,
term.
yeah.
I was like, ball carrier?
Yeah, we don't call basketball players ball carriers unless they
I'm
get
like,
in turnover. But I was laughing at the
Carry.
fact that you just such a coach that
Ball
it all comes
handler. I'm
together.
sorry. You're
I
right.
have a
Ball
question for
handler.
Big Rios. Houston
Yep.
is an up and coming team from what I've seen. You guys were maybe about a superstar and a top 10 player away. What do you think is happening with your organization where it's fluctuating so bad, regardless to getting rid of those overloaded contracts in the last 5 years?
For a while, Darren Moore gave a lot of bad contracts out. So it took us some time to get rid of those. Right now, we don't have a ton of bad contracts. I think Sengun's an up and coming player. We just got to find that second star. Because right now I think our second leading scorer is Van Fleet, but I can't really count on him to be your second leading scorer. Like, you need someone that's going to be a walking bucket, basically, besides Sengun. Other than that, we just got to keep our guys healthy. Tari Easton coming off the bench is one of our best defenders, along with Brooks. But just the injury bug's been hitting them pretty badly. That's why they've been, kind of a bit of a free fall right now. They were like 4th or 5th. Now they're like 9th, 10th. So like they're going to be, battling for that last playing spot. But they got some moves to make at the deadline. I think realistically, moves I see them making is going to be a backup big for Sengun, because when he comes off the court, it's a black hole at offense. And then probably a backup shooting guard, possibly a starting shooting guard, because Jalen Green's been struggling. He has all the physical tools. It's up here. It's just something going on up here. He's just struggling.
If there was one free agent that you could get by the deadline to turn around the team, to push them in the forward direction, who would it be?
I've been going back and forth about this one. I would really like them to try to go after Brogdon. I think he would definitely help elevate that group.
We'll take him. You can take him. Come on, we need him. But Brogdon, that would be a good choice for the Rockets, definitely. I love Brogdon, and people keep on telling me how he's injury prone and all this stuff, but he won Rookie of the Year. Like
when he's healthy, I love his game. It's just like I said, the injuries, but that's one guy I like to see the Rockets see, because coming off the bench, being the starter, hey, he's gonna help this team win some games, because we're good defensively. It's just sometimes they have a trouble, shooting a beach ball into that basket, man. It's bad.
I think two players that I think about that I think will become elevated stars in Houston. I think if you guys got Cam Thomas or Miles Bridges, because they have the experience as veterans already, although they've not been in the league too long, they've played around players who are absolute superstars, A-listers, so they understand the work ethic. I think those two type of players would turn your franchise up. Not around, but definitely up, as the young people say. I think that would be good for you guys, man. A scorer at will in Cam Thomas, and those guys can follow his lead, with a Brogdon being able to hold it down with him, and a St. August also, and also a guy like Miles Bridges, who's definitely unselfish, but can get it going in streaky ways at times.
Okay, where's where's NYG? Because he's gonna be mad when he heard Cam Thomas.
First of all, he can't talk to nobody because he just lost a game that was in hand to the Knicks. He's not allowed to.
I know. I live streamed the game, bro. That was a good game for you guys, back and forth until the end. It was a very good game until the end.
It's called Brunson.
Yeah.
Having a Brunson.
Yep. Spongy, I've seen your comments. I'm not gonna. Apparently, the Eagles just hired Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator. Apparently.
What?
So. Yeah. Apparently, the Eagles are getting Vic Fangio, but I'm gonna talk about that later, Spongy. This is a basketball podcast, so I'll talk about that later. So. Yeah. But really quick, before we end this, we gotta talk about the trade that just happened a couple days ago, and that was Terry Rozier getting traded to Miami for Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick.
Man, I told you earlier, man. I was just like, damn, they got him for that. I mean, I know teams around the league were like, damn, we should have tried. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like, damn, the Knicks. I mean, that could have been Fournier in a first-round draft pick,
right?
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm like, and Rozier is what? He's 27. He's averaging 24 a game.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask you a question, Coach.
Yeah.
Because this is important when we talk about our team, right? We gotta ask these important questions. Will a Terry Rozier be who he is in a Tibbs system? There you go. That's my answer right there.
Look, here's the first thing. Can Rozier play defense? If you're telling me he can play defense and he's playing on that second unit, then I'm not gonna say 24, but is he gonna give me 20, 19 to 21? Yeah, I think
Nice.
he can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he could.
I
Now,
won't. I'm not questioning his scoring prowess and his heart. I'm questioning his psychological attributes in certain moments. And we have a old school coach who licks the little bit of hairs across his scalp every game, right? Who is just, you know what happens when you go back and forth with him. You know what happens.
yeah, no, I get you, and he's
Right.
definitely. Oh, you got to mentally be tough to handle.
You got to be tough with him. And Terry Rozier, obviously, that was one of the reasons why he got taken away from Boston, is because of his attitude.
But
Attitude
now,
reflect leadership.
but how long ago was that in Boston? Is it a
4
possibility he's
years?
mature?
Was that 4 years ago?
So is it a possibility he has matured?
Oh, he has no choice
So
in New York.
but again, he's in Miami, so I was just saying, look, if you
A
could have
lot
got
more
him for
laid
that,
back, right? A lot more laid back.
yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying, still, could you have at least tried if that's what it was for the Knicks? So, look, the Knicks ain't
Yeah.
going to get that. So, Miami, great job.
Mhm.
Now how is he going to
Easy
fit
as
down
always.
there? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to watch and see.
Spoelstra gives his guys free reign, ISO ball all the way. The only person that gets plays drawn up for them, and that's even an ISO situation, is buckets. Remember, they are a 3-point barrage, and if they get a chance to inside scoring with a couple of guys, but overall, he lets them dudes run across the floor wildly, man. That's why Hero is who he is.
Good
And
point.
actually, I just found this on Twitter by NBA Central. Shaq states he would rather play with Damian Lillard than Steph Curry during a clutch situation because he believes Lillard is a better standstill shooter.
I'll give him that.
I
give him
can see
that.
that. I
I'll give him-
mean,
yeah, I'll give him.
Damon's one of the best clutch shooters we've seen in our lifetime, really.
Facts.
That's actually a hot take, and I agree with Shaq on that. I really do. That was a good one.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
we got a question from Brooklyn. What is up, Joker? How's it going, man? I got a question. If you were to draft one pick, who would you pick and why?
As far as
As far as
Is this
what?
all
What?
time?
like
Is it all time or
the
if it's all
2024
time? I'm going
draft,
Michael Jordan.
Well, y'all can do that. If it's all time, I'm taking Magic. I'm sorry, that's me.
If you were the Lakers, would you trade D'Angelo Russell? That's a good one. If you want DeJounte Murray, then yes.
Well, it depends on what you're getting back, but yeah, I mean,
Well, it depends on who LeBron wants.
Because he's
Yeah.
super
Yeah,
inconsistent.
good point.
It's just like whoever LeBron wants. If LeBron wants him, I'll take him. If all time, okay.
All time, then I'm going. I know most people will take Jordan. I'm taking Magic.
I'll take Kareem.
I'm taking Hakeem Olajuwon
I love
that's a
that.
good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
because you can put anybody around him and he'll still be who he is.
Yep. I'll take Kareem. What about Rios and Randy? What about you guys?
Oh, I don't know.
I-
I'm torn.
I'll probably go Jordan. I was gonna go Elijah, but I'll go Jordan.
See, he's so obvious though, right? Big Rios. That's why I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I would say Kawhi.
You got to
That's fair.
explain that.
Ooh.
You got to
Yeah,
explain
I gotta-
that.
Man.
I
I
gotta
got
hear
to
this
He's
hear
a
one.
Raptors fan.
Yeah, I got to hear this.
Well, I'm a Raptors fan, and since he was the key cog that brought us our chip,
Mhm.
and what he's been able to do throughout, minus the injuries, he's a dog, and it just you put the ball in his hands. I don't think he's afraid of anybody. He'll go toe to toe with whoever, and I like his tenacity. He doesn't just stop on the offensive side. He's a dog on the defensive side. He gets after it, whether he's getting a board or whether he's just trying to lock somebody down. So for me, it's got to be Kawhi.
I would have agreed with you, right? If Kevin Durant was in those finals.
Yeah, but Kevin Durant had to jump ship to Curry, Clay. He proven right now he can't go anywhere without them. Kawhi can go without those guys. In 1
Proven
year.
without him, with the guys he's been with, right? Let me ask a question. I don't know if it's going to be great, but how many great players has Kawhi Leonard played with since leaving Toronto? Like, I would like to know that from you guys. Like, well, how do you guys rate this Clippers team?
10 years ago, they've been a super team, but now, like, they've underachieved big time. This season, they're playing pretty well.
Right.
I think it was real big of Westbrook, being mad at them to take a spot on the bench versus, trying to fight
Right.
for that starting spot. And that they've been clicking pretty well. James Harden's having a career resurgence. Who saw that coming?
And by the
Right.
way, the Raptors won with that Kawhi lucky bounce. I still gotta say that.
That was one of the best shots I've ever seen. I was like, there's no way that goes in. I'm like, oh.
And as a Raptors
here-
fan, I wanted to take MJ, but I didn't want to be with the norm, so I took Kawhi. Wasn't I?
Right.
my
I mean,
That's-
Kawhi did play with Duncan. Like, that was a young Kawhi. That was a very young Kawhi with Tim Duncan,
Same with Magic.
Ginobili.
Yeah,
Parker.
he was young, and those guys were at the tail ends of their careers by the time he was getting.
And now, and gentlemen,
Okay, bro.
now you see what I mean about legacy coaches. Look
That
who
was
his
Pop.
coach was. Look what
Pop.
he's went on to do. Ginobili, Parker, Robinson, Duncan. Look at all the guys that came out of that Spurs system that went on to be great players, Hall of Fame careers, and just contribute to teams all across the NBA. What's the kid that went to the Raptors? I always forget his name for some reason. He's in DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, DeRozan.
Yeah.
Look at these guys.
I don't consider. Yeah,
Patty Mills.
DeRozan. DeRozan
DeRozan could be a toss-up.
DeRozan is a step up for me. He's a step up above Bruce Bowen.
He's way more offensive than
But
Bruce Bowen.
that's
Coach.
why I'm saying he's a step up. Bruce Bowen is better defensively.
Yeah,
What's wrong with that? So,
but in this new NBA, we all know what
the
matters.
new NBA. Yes, the new
Right.
NBA. I'm just looking across the full spectrum.
I
That's
know.
why I say he's a step up above Bruce Bowen. Because Bruce Bowen, yeah, he'll lock you down. Bruce Bowen was kind of, I would say he's that 3-and-D type of a guy. But, and Bruce Bowen he could go at 1 through 4, depending on who it is. And I'm not saying DeMar DeRozan can't defend, but he's not an
Didn't
elite
Murray come
defender.
from the Spurs? DeJounte came from the Spurs, right?
DeJounte
Yeah,
came
okay.
from the Spurs.
Okay, let's talk about it then, since we're gonna sit here and talk about it, right?
Danny
DeJounte
Green
came from the Spurs.
Danny Green.
DeRozan, right? Look at old school, Stephen Jackson, guys like that who came from the Spurs.
Stefan's game elevated when he went there.
Absolutely. Come
When he
on,
was with
come
New
on.
Jersey, when he was with New Jersey, it was just like he's a mental case. But then
Mhm.
and Indianapolis, when with the
Right.
whole so
Dallas in the
Then Pop,
Palace.
then Pop got a hold of him. Then
yeah,
what?
yeah, you're right.
I
You're
just-
right.
He's
just
and
love
this
how
is
we're
the
talking
type
about
of coach that I wish was still in the league till this day. I miss legacy coaches, man. I miss it.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. And I love how we're just talking about Rio Sports Team possible, and he's just sitting here. I just love that. But Embiid dropped 70 on Victor Wembanyama. You're welcome for that, Rio.
Thank you.
Yo,
Let's
can
go
we
for it.
talk about that for 30 seconds? Yo,
Go
man,
for it.
to get dropped 70 on you? Yo, coach, first of all, you got to understand the number.
Mm.
I didn't have 70. I put 70 on you.
Yeah, nah, because I just
Oh, my God.
look. I just when you start talking about that, I'm looking at Kobe and Wilt. That's all I can think of.
Mm.
But it just
Please don't remind me. Please don't remind me that 81 was against the Raptors. Please, it's
Look,
I
Damn.
y'all, maybe y'all don't know, but who did Wilt put the 100 on? The Knicks.
The Knicks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dropped that. Yeah, he
Exactly.
dropped that on the Knicks, man.
so you know
He put-
exactly, Coach. You know.
Yeah, so it's like but I get it with Embiid. It's a lot. Kudos to him. Hell, I remember when Melo did what he do? What he put up 60 what?
62.
62 exactly. So it's not a big thing. I mean, Michael, I think the most he put up was what 61 against Boston. Was it 61 against Boston in the playoffs?
63.
Oh,
It was
63.
63.
No,
Yeah.
I think regular season was 69. Mitch's favorite number.
Yeah, that's not my favorite number, damn it. It's 3.
Oh, he put up 60. All right, I thought it was 63. I thought it was 63 against Boston.
No,
Okay.
that was his career high, but against Boston, he did 63 in the playoffs as a sophomore.
Yeah, it was 63 in the playoffs.
Okay, so I all right. Still, it's hey, wait a minute. David Robinson, he did what 71.
71.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll always have them throughout the course, but on average, that's why 40, it starts to pushing it. When you get to 50, it's like, okay, really, they're really pushing it. But 30, 35, pushing 40 is like, all right, that's almost normal. It's not a big issue.
See, but what means more than anything in the world, Coach, and I know the panel will agree to this, is when you do it in a meaningful situation.
True.
71 was because he was force-fed the ball because they wanted him to win the scoring title. That's a sucker move to me. Last night, when Yambe understands now what his whole life means in front of him, he was given a master class on what to do for the rest of his life.
Yep.
He can watch that film every day of his life and say, I need to be that. And he'll never fail himself.
Well, I mean, if he's really the talent that everyone talks about, like you just said, that's something that you just gonna sit there and watch over and over and over until you get sick of it, and then you gonna go out there because I expect him to say, you put 70 on me, I want 75 minimum.
Fact. I don't know what I got to do, but I'm going to get with every NBA great that I can think about that still has some type of class over the summer, some type of skill, whatever I need to do. I'm calling them in and I'm spending the night in the gym. I go rent one of the best mattresses in a tent in the history of the world. Hyperbaric chamber, whatever I need. And I put it in the corner of a gymnasium. And I do not leave the gymnasium for 30 days. Hakeem Olajuwon walks in there, David Robinson walks in there, Tim Duncan walks in there, and I keep a picture of Joel Embiid on every basket. I lose my mind to the fact that this happened to me because this is going to show me who he is. If he takes that lightly, I will lose all the respect in the world from him. But because he's under pot, he's going to get it right.
Good point. Excellent point.
It is.
70?
I would have laughed if like somebody would have caught something like Pop walking over and kind of greasing Embiid after being like, "Thanks, the kid needed that." Almost like
Facts.
that.
You know what?
I can see
what,
Pop
Brett
doing that,
Brown?
honestly.
You know what Joel Embiid said to Brett Brown after the game? He was like, I know how to pass now. After the game. He was like, hey, I know how to pass now.
What was the final score?
It was
a close game, actually.
It was a
surprising.
very, very close game. Yeah. Here, I gotta pull it up. I don't remember exactly.
Damn. See what I mean, Coach? A close game when one man has 70.
Well, I mean, Mitch brought light to my attention. Cat had 62 the same night, but then Anthony Edwards had 9 points in that game. And Anthony Edwards had 9 points when Cat had 62. That tells me all I need to know. And
it was 133 to 123. Yep.
Oh, it's not as close.
And that's like 10 points.
I mean, if one guy's scoring 7, that's a little too close for my comfort.
A fact. One man with 70, that means the rest of the team only scored 60, 3 points, 63
Yeah.
points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got
So
10
I
guys.
had 70, but the rest of everybody had 63.
My other 10 team had 60 points combined. Like, come on, man. Y'all need to step it up.
Hey, it is what it is. I'm glad that we
Yeah.
won, and we're not Karl Anthony Towns that lost to the Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kevin Durant dropped like what 45 points, and he had a game winner. And then did you see him in the press conference after in the post game?
Yeah.
They were like, Embiid scored 70. He was like 70.
He's like, holy.
I'm like, but hey, I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in for episode number 57. A great
you.
conversation about the coaches, the dynasty
away.
legacies.
12 away,
Appreciate that,
Mitch.
E.
12 away, Mitch.
Thank you guys
my
for even
God.
allowing me to be a part of everything, man. I really, really appreciate it. Whenever I get a chance and get the time, thank you for the therapy, because most people don't understand sports is therapy for some of us. But thank you guys for putting this together, man, and having me on, man. I'm so humbly thankful. Thank you, brothers.
Always.
Oh, we love,
Of course,
we love having
man.
y'all. We love having y'all, man. It's awesome
Yeah.
conversation, bro.
Yeah. E, DM me on Twitter. DM me on Twitter so I can just send you the link whenever you want.
No problem at all, man. You guys can also catch us on the Shakedown Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on the Shakedown Media Network. Like and subscribe. We talk all Giants, but we bring up an array of topics on the NFL period, man. So you guys can come through, have some fun. I'll send you the link. You can always join in, and we love to just have guests on. Coach is always on. NYG is always on. Big Pat. These guys come through all the time. So that's where you can find me.
Yep. And actually, real quick, halftime's gonna kill me for saying this, but I don't know if you guys saw in the group chat. He said Zion Williamson or the Spurs need Zion Williamson, and I'm like, what?
Greg Popovich
I mean, great for Zion.
will tear him apart.
It would not work. I don't think it will
Because
work.
one, his work ethic, two, his effort on the defensive end. Greg Popovich will go crazy.
You
Coach,
know
you
what?
okay?
No. E, I'm sorry, I disagree with you. Because think about it. Why was Zion so great in college? Because he played for one of the best coaches ever. Because Coach K really pushed him. He needs that type of a coach.
So what happened to him, Coach, when he hit the NBA? Besides injury.
Number one, I'm
happened?
going to be honest with you. He's in the wrong environment. Being in New Orleans. I mean, that's a party town. That's a party town. And then you got great food down
but
there.
that's what bothers me right
But
there.
you also he doesn't have a stable support system
Yeah,
around
no
him.
stability. That coaching stability.
Yeah.
In college isn't there.
See?
Yeah.
And that's sad right there, because you come from one of the greatest coaching minds, right? To go and elevate you to get to the next level, then you have no sustainability when you get there.
No, I agree with you, but he was also 19 years old. That to me is, you know what? You're still finding yourself. That's when you're really in college. You're partying, doing all the wild things. That's why it's like, for me, it's a debate. I understand about young kids coming and having the right, but then again, it's like, you know what? Maybe they need a minor league system so they can develop and not only their game, but mentally and socially.
But that's what the G League is for, though, right?
And that's my point. That's where some of these guys, I don't care if they're number one overall. You need to send them there maybe for a year to develop, because they need development. And you would be in college getting that development. We dealt with years of kids going 4 years, and you came in as a grown man, so you were able to handle it. Now, that's why if he could go with Pop, I think that would be a great fit.
But that's the thing that's what brings us back, right, Coach? To legacy coaches. See, we have to understand, we grew up in an era where there was 10 to 12 legacy coaches, 5 to 6 in each conference. And they all respected each other because they knew what they were facing every night. When Pat Riley was going against a Red Auerbach, a Chuck Daly was facing you respected the coaching and then the players. The
Yes.
announcers, I don't know if you guys watch old school NBA in the 80s and the 90s. The
Mhm.
announcers
sir.
would talk about the coaches facing each other
I
and
would
then
shoot,
the
I would
Mhm.
shoot
players.
around.
Yeah.
It was a chess.
They would be
It
like,
was
well,
a
we
chess
got a
match.
classic matchup tonight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Chuck
you're right.
Daly and Red Auerbach square off like they was on the court.
Yes, I agree
Yeah.
with you. I agree with you, bro. It's not like that now. It's a
No,
different
it's not.
era. So it's which I understand. It's about we know the players are the one. They're the product. They go out there. They perform. That's why the
Mhm.
fans want to see. That's why the TV cameras are there. But you still need the development. You still need the coaches because they don't just arbitrarily go out there and play. That's why you have coaches because it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, yeah, you're good. As soon as you're done, I'll go.
No, that's why you don't have the old school, back in the day, the old player coaches anymore. Like what Bill Russell was back in the 50s. You could do that back then. You can't do that now. You can't. You need the coaches to set up your game plan to develop your skills and so on and so forth. The kids they're not built for this. And I don't care what sport it is. They're not built to self develop themselves. They just
Can I
aren't.
say something to you, coach? And I promise you,
Yeah,
I
go
will
ahead. You
not
got it.
make this a conversation because I know my brother wants to close out. Do you know a big reason for why young men don't develop as players psychologically and it translates physically? And I
Oh
mean no disrespect about what I'm about to say.
no! For me, you growing up in your support system. You have too many yes people around you. They're telling you you're great. They're not pushing you. I talked about it earlier. They're not.
Mhm.
I need coaches who are going to rip me apart. You
And can I
know.
tell you something as well, coach? One of the things that I don't want to miss this point on to
Go
add
ahead.
to your point,
I'm good. Go ahead.
85% of the professional athletes born after 1997 have been raised by single mothers.
Mm,
Hmm.
wow. Didn't know it
Damn,
was
I didn't know
that.
that.
Yeah, I didn't know it was
I
If
that.
you
mean,
think of all the football players, they run right to their mothers and give them the ball for the touchdown. If you think about the NBA players, they run right to the crowd and go to their mothers. Has anybody seen LeBron James' father?
No, you're right. And I will say you're 100% right, which is, now we're going into a different subject.
That's
So
why I said I
I,
promise I'm not going
I'm
to do it,
just, I'm
but
just
I'll
going to
talk
put it
about it
like
another
this.
time.
I'm just going to put it like this. I was a single dad. My father was, when my parents separated, we went and lived with my dad. When my dad and my grandmother separated, he stayed with my grandfather. That's just how we are raised in our family.
Exactly. And I was
I
only saying that to talk about the emotional
yes, yeah.
intelligence of a man. When you look at these young players, they're emotionally unintelligent that they will get coaches fired because coaches are that much of men. That's why guys like Tom Coughlin and Popovich are on their way out. And then you got these coaches that are the ages of some of the players that they coach. You ever know? Look at the Wave, 36-year-old coach, 35-year-old coach, because the culture has changed.
Mm.
Me and my coach can sit down and listen to rap music together in a car and get driven to a bar and actually have a beer together. Not when I was growing up. My coach let me know dead serious. I'm not your friend. I'm not your brother. I'm definitely not your father. And every other time you leave him, I will act like that, and that's it. And you know what my dad was about? Thank you for being a man, because my
Mhm.
son will become a better man because of the man that you are.
Great
yep,
point. Phenomenal
great point.
point.
I
Facts,
love that
man.
point.
Facts.
I love that point. But
Great way to close out
yep,
the show.
great way to close out right now, and
Thank you.
great episode for 57. And Randy, did you have something?
I said thanks, E.
Yes.
Okay.
Yo, man, like I said, I'm just humbly thankful to join you guys, man. Coach is my big brother, and you the family now, man. So even if I know you guys may not know this, but even when I'm not on the panel, I'm watching. That's how come you guys be like, oh, E, join next week. I'm a fan. Thank you guys, man.
We appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we appreciate you. So on that note, guys, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe on everyone's channel, and we'll catch you all next week. And have a good one, guys. We'll catch you later, and peace.